Hey, good morning. Yes, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and yes, I know it's Sunday morning, September 2nd. I think it's September 2nd. Let me check. Nope, September 3rd. Chalk it up to old age. But I got a little bit of time, so I said, well, shoot, why not throw a video out there? And part of this video is going to be a correction on where I had misspoke on the true nature of a fuel shut-off solenoid. Jason and Rodney were 100% correct. Where I see it the most is where equipment is stored long periods of time, especially like from fall to spring. Springtime is usually when we see it the most. And we do work for like Tractor Supply with their equipment. And the main culprit always seems to be that fuel solenoid shut off. And a lot of times if we just simply take the carburetor bowl out, because you're going to want to clean the carburetor bowl and spray the needle in the seat and stuff with some carburetor cleaner, but get that bowl cleaned out. But usually that fuel shut off is so varnished and sticky that it doesn't even move. And there have been some that you couldn't even get a pair of pliers on and try to pull, and they should pull out, to clean. But you want them nice and smooth. But the main reason they put it in there was to stop fuel from being afterburn or backfiring and so forth when you shut the key off. See, it's a lot like what I have on my diesels. Is they have the electronic shut-off. So when you turn the key off, it actually is a solenoid that shuts the fuel off to the injectors versus having a pull stop that you would stop it with. So you guys, thanks for catching it and correcting it. That's what I want. What I've learned in my 60 years is I'm not always right or correct in trying to explain something. I just know it's a culprit for many people, and it's an easy fix. So that brings me to, we don't talk about it much, but the fuel in a can. It's this day and age, people are trying to figure out how to save money. And in the end, it ends up costing them money. A lot of people buy the fuel in a can for convenience. They assume that it's fresh because it's in a can, right? And they assume that it's top of the line fuel. But we've seen this over and over and over again in the shop. And ever since these came on the market, because customers have heeded our advice about not getting mixed too far ahead. But they're buying 8 or 10 of these cans to use throughout the summer. And what I have found, is that a lot of times when you put this into your 2 or 4-stroke engines, they don't burn good. It doesn't rev up where it should, or it doesn't run right. And if you've watched any of my videos, the first thing I do is I dump the fuel. And the reason I dump the fuel is because I want to know what the baseline is. Now I will start it first and check it to see if it's running correctly. If you have the digital thing where it tells you what the RPMs are running at, that's great. But most of us can tell by ear when something's not running right. And no matter with this stuff, with our customers that are buying it in the can, normally like a chainsaw or a weed eater or something like that, there's two of us working on it when it comes to getting it to the right spec that it should be. And that is one person holding on to the unit while the other person is adjusting the high or low speed jets. But the fuel that you're getting in the cans will not adjust. It's not burning properly. And before we start adjusting things, if it sounds like it's getting up there and then bogging down, we dump the fuel, we put it in stuff that we know is fresh, and voila, no more issues with that two-stroke chainsaw, weed eater, what have you, four-stroke, that just doesn't seem to want to run right the way it should be with the fuel in a can. The other thing that most don't talk about is, for me, it's bad enough that fuel is now $4.09, and to get the premium, I think it's around 5 something for the non-ethanol. And then to get a can of mix, 50 to 1, I normally do it 2.5 gallons. So it's 1 can of that. Look at the cost of what these cans. I know one big box store that sells 4 32-ounce or 6 32-ounce bottles for $48. Now we know that 128 ounces is a gallon. So it takes 4 of those of the 6 to have a gallon of mixed fuel or their fuel. Who's making a killing? Do the math. I know a lot of you possibly out there that are, homeowners are nervous about doing the 50 to 1 mix. It's not that difficult. Get yourself a 2.5 gallon can and then get one of the bottles from wherever, online or your local dealer. We carry them here for the 2.5 gallon, the 5 gallon, and the 20 gallon. And we carry the bigger bottles for the big outfits. And two-stroke isn't just two-stroke. Two-stroke that they use in marine is different than the two-stroke that you use in your small engines. And I would 100% go along with use the synthetic. It just gives you added protection, especially with the heat ranges of the two-strokes. If you go with a fully synthetic and 2.5 gallons of gas, you will probably end up your cost around maybe $7, $8 a gallon max, depending on where you're at located. And then this big box that's selling 6 of the 32, so 4 of those to equal your gallon, comes out to $8 a can, or $32 plus tax for 4 cans, which equal a gallon of fuel. So you're paying $32 plus tax for a gallon of mixed fuel. It's a 50 to 1, or even the straight fuel. I don't blame them for doing it. There must be a consumer need, or they wouldn't be still selling them. That's your call, not mine, on how you want to spend your money. What I can tell you is they are the usual culprit that the units they'll start to rev up and then they'll die down a little bit. If you let off again, they'll rev up and then they'll die down again, like they're bogging down. And there could be other things going on, from a plug breaking down to the spark arrestor being plugged, you know, the air cleaner being plugged. But what we've seen is we've corrected the other three, checked it anyways, and it still ends up being the fuel. And when we ask our customers what kind of fuel they're using, they say it's in a can. Now, I'm not telling you not to buy that fuel that's in the can at your big box stores and so forth. I'm just telling you of personal experience that we've seen in the shop of where the culprit lies. And I also wanted to get across how much you're actually paying for a gallon of this in a can versus how much it would cost you to mix your own. And you are further ahead to mix your own. 2.5 gallons, you know, that should last anybody all summer long with your two-stroke stuff, you know, and with the exception of if you're cutting up a lot of firewood and stuff like that. So you go through it faster, but it's still cheaper. On that note, you guys have a great Sunday, and I plan on doing a video Monday, even though nobody's working here but me. I don't take the day off. We'll do a weekday session, and looking for suggestions from you guys of what you'd like to see. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching.